Hallelujah. 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shankwell Yah, One Vision Ministry. I'm about to get ready to go here. So let me get started here. Okay. Today I want to deal with obedience and how the example is to be one of obedience. A lot of times I've noticed that those in Israel get caught up with birth line, bloodline, and that we are Israel. And that is very, very important. But the example of obedience is something that Yah wanted established with us. And so how are we moving? Are we moving to be his image in the earth, or are we moving to be our own image and do our own thing? And if we're doing our own thing, we're no different than Hasatan. So if we're going to be about Yah's business, we have to be doing his will, just like Yahusha did. Yahusha was operating as Adam or the second Adam in the image of Yah and doing the will of Yah before men, basically operating as a high priest. So Abba Yah, I thank you for this Shabbat. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for just setting apart a day for us to rest. Um, may your will be done. May edification go forth and iron sharpen iron. So, all right, I'm gonna get started, and hopefully, what I say and what I share is beneficial to the listener. So, where I'm gonna start off first is Shemuel Aleph or 1 Samuel 15, and just want to lay this down as almost a foundational text or and so it says here, then Shemuel or Samuel said, does Yahuwah delight in ascending offerings and slaughterings? So sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of Yahuwah. Look, to obey is better than a slaughtering. To heed is better than the fat of rams. So running over here to Shemot or Exodus 19. And it says here, starting with what is called verse 5. And now, if you diligently obey my voice, if you diligently obey my voice, what's his will? Let's see what his will is. And shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession above all peoples. So, yes, there is a favorite in Israel and in the Yahudim, but that if is still there. If you diligently obey my voice and shall guard my covenant, then you shall be my treasured possession but above all peoples. So just like with the situation in the beginning with Adam, he was created to be the image of Yah, to express his dominion on earth. And so his people that it would guard his covenant and obey his voice will be treasured possession above all people, and they basically would be the ruling class. So look, for all of the earth is mine, and ye shall be to me a reign of priests, ruling class of priests, and a set apart nation that are those are the words which you are to speak to the children of Israel. This was not spoken to multiple nations, but it was spoken to Israel. They were supposed to be the example people. I've been told many a times in life that basically the law is only for Israel. Other nations don't have to follow the law. And I'm like, no, they don't have to follow the law if they choose to not be a part of Yah's kingdom. But if they want to be a part of someone that is holy, they have to walk as he walks. So let me go further. Wa'ikra, or Leviticus 19, and what's called verse 18. It says, do not take vengeance or bear oh no, that's not where I want to go. Excuse me. Uh, but I'm gonna read it anyway. Do not take vengeance or bear grudge against the children of your people, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yahuwah. I want to clarify this. Modernly, we live scattered out, so our neighbors are many different beliefs, many different cultures, all these other things. With Israel, they were tribe next to tribe. So their neighbors were their relatives and kinsmen. They were not strange nations. Whenever they basically another nation was by them, when they were going through this period of time, they were conquests. They were people that they end up in battle with or at odds with. Their neighbors that they loved were their kinsmen. But okay, let me see. Uh I'm gonna read from there. I'm gonna start from that though still. So it says, guard my laws. Do not let your livestock mate with another kind. Do not sow your field with mixed seed. Do not put a garment woven with two sorts of threads upon you. I think that's supposed to say wool and cotton, but you know, I'm gonna leave that alone. And when a man has intercourse with a woman who is a female servant engaged to a man and to be ransomed, but she has not been ransomed nor set free, there should be an inquiry, but they are not put to death because she was not free. So those are some laws, but let's go down. I'm gonna go down from there. Go down. All right. I'm gonna actually start right here because today is Shabbat. But it just basically runs down some laws, and this is talking to Israel. But then here it's still talking to Israel. It says, "Guard my Sabbaths and reverence my set apart place. I am Yahuwah. Do not turn to mediums, magicians, fortune tellers, and do not seek after spiritists to be defiled by them. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. Rise up before the gray-headed, and you shall favor the face of an old man, and shall fear your Elohim. I am Yahuwah." And this is where the key point I wanted to hit. So he said all of those laws. It says, and when a stranger sojourns with you in your land, do not oppress him. Let the stranger who dwells among you be to you as the native among you. So be just like an Israelite, though not an Israelite, and you shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Mizraim. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. It says, do no unrighteousness in right ruling, in measurement of length and weight, or in measuring liquids. Have right scales, right weights, a right ephah, and a right hand. I am Yahuwah, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mizraim, and you shall guard all my laws and all my right rulings and do them. I am Yahuwah. So again, the stranger that dwells among you is supposed to be like a native among you. So let's keep going. Let's go over here to Bimidbar 15. So I just got through reading a list of laws, and it's telling you that the stranger that's among you, you treat them like you are. But let's keep going. Bimidbar or Numbers 15. It says, and Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you have come into the land of your dwellings, which I am giving you, and you make an offering by fire to Yahuwah, and an ascending offering or a slaughtering. Remember, we just got through talking earlier about that obedience is greater than all of this offering and slaughtering. But let's keep going. To accomplish a vow or as a voluntary offering, or in your appointed times, to make a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah from the herd or the flock, then he who brings near his offering to Yahuwah shall bring near a grain offering of 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of a hin of oil, and 1/4 of a hin of wine as a drink offering. You prepare with the ascending offering or the slaughtering for each lamb. Or for a ram, you prepare as a grain offering 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil. And as a drink offering, you bring 1/3 of a hin of wine as a sweet fragrance of fragrance to Yahuwah. See again, giving instructions of laws. And when you prepare a young bull as an ascending offering or as a slaughtering to accomplish a vow or as a peace offering to Yahuwah, then shall be brought with the young bull a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with half a hin of oil, and bring as the drink offering half a hin of wine as an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. This is what is done for each young bull, for each ram, and for each lamb or young goat. According to the number you prepare, so you do for each one according to their number. Then here it goes. Let all who are native do so with them in bringing near an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah. And when a stranger sojourns with you, or whoever is among you throughout your generations, and would make an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahuwah, as you do, so he does. So just remember, spoke of that you're gonna treat them like they a native, like they one of you, and so the same standards that you are dealing with in dealing with offerings, they're expected to do the same thing. As you do, so he does. One law is for you of the assembly, and for the stranger who sojourns with you, a law forever throughout your generations. As you are, so is the stranger before Yahuwah. If they ain't among you, they ain't living, they ain't required to live the way you live. But that means that they're not accepting Yah as their king, Yah as their ruler. But if they're gonna be amongst you and they doing something different, you connected yourself or linked yourself to something different, you're going opposition to Yah. If they're gonna be among you, it's not. I'm gonna go on a little rabbit trail here, just to talk. My home is a sanctuary for me, my wife, and my children. If someone comes and stays here, they have to abide by the rules of this house. We don't eat pork, so they ain't no pork gonna be cooked in here. Ain't no pork gonna be brought in here. Ain't no shellfish, none of that. Those things are defiled things, unclean things. Their purpose is for cleaning up the earth. It's not something that we eat. So you're not going to eat that in my home. You're going to come into my home and obey the same structure and rules that's set for everyone else in the home. Otherwise, your welcome is gonna end. It's not gonna be extended any further. You know, we can be all right, but you ain't gonna be welcome here. One of the problems with Israel as a people, they became disobedient to Yah and they started defiling the land. So of course, they're not going to allow strangers that come in and now we treat them like natives to come in and to defile the land. those that were his set apart people that he chose to be his examples, no, they're not supposed to let other people come in and show bad examples. And they themselves are not supposed to be bad examples. If there's a problem, they the ones that's supposed to resolve it because they are his image in the earth. They are the ones that's supposed to be operating in his dominion. And they being Israel and the Yahudim. It's not about bloodline alone. Bloodline does matter. But if you don't have the obedience attached to the bloodline, you basically are a part of that if you obey. If you're not going to obey, then you're going to be treated like one of these other nations. And that's why Israel in itself was cast out of their land. Our ancestors' disobedience is what brought forth what we label now curses. He says, if you do this, you will be favored. But if you do this, you will be cursed. We open the door, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to show you obedience because it's so sad that we are supposed to be the example, but Yah, he'll be patient to us to an extent, and he'll even give us examples of other nations to show us how obedience brings forth a benefit. So let me keep going. I was reading there, and I'm gonna finish reading, and then I'm gonna move on. It says, one law is for you of the assembly, and for the stranger who sojourns with you, a law forever throughout your generations. As you are, so is the stranger before Yahuwah. One Torah and one right ruling is for you and for the stranger who sojourns with you. So I ain't really got to read no more of that. I'm gonna move to the next. All right, Wa'ikra, or Leviticus 24. Go to what's called verse 22. It says, you are to have one right ruling for the stranger and for the native, for I am Yahuwah your Elohim. So he didn't say this just one time, he repeated it. And it's repeated other places as well. Yah does not say anything in vain. So the fact that he even repeated himself, this is something that is important to him. So now I'm finna basically show you something because many people think, that only Israel is favored by Yah, but Yah recognizes obedience. So if we don't get in line, Yah is capable of replacing us, but yet his word and his promises towards us, so he won't, but he will elevate others as we don't get in line. So I want to go over here to Yirmiyahu 35. And I've talked about this before, but I feel like it's need to be talked about again because I'm seeing a lot of prideful Israelites who want to mention their bloodline and how we the people of covenant and how everything is supposed to be favored towards us, but yet a lot of times these same folks, they don't always seem to be the most obedient people. Their attitudes and their pride is in the bloodline and not in the Torah and walking in his will. You know, the model prayer says, Our Father. So yes, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So we're supposed to make his name holy, reverenced. Thy will be done, thy kingdom come on earth as is in heaven. Thy will, Yah's will. This is Yahusha was sharing this. So it wasn't about Yahusha's will, but it was the Father's will. And Yahusha was key in always operating in what his Father showed him. He's our brother. He said our Father, so he wasn't just speaking about him alone. He said our Father. So If we are, according to what I showed you in Exodus 19:5 and 6, supposed to be royal priests, we're supposed to be the examples. Obedience to his will should be on us. We should be his image in the earth, just like Adam was. We are supposed to operate before mankind and the other nations as Yah in the flesh, his image, not misrepresenting him by doing things contrary to his will, but operating in his will. So let me get going. Jeremiah 35. The word which came to Yirmiyahu from Yahuwah in the days of Jehoiakim, son of Yeshayahu, sovereign of Yehudah, saying, Go to the house of the Rechabites, and ye shall speak to them and bring them into the house of Yahuwah. So you're going to bring some other people into the house of Yahuwah, into one of the rooms and give them wine to drink. Hmm. What's so special about these people? Why are you going to bring them into the house of Yahuwah, into the temple? Remember, the temple's supposed to be for the Israelites. Okay, but it said, I took Yaazaniah, the son of Yirmiyahu, the son of Habatz Sinyah, and his brothers, and all his sons, and all the house of the Rechabites, and brought them into the house of Yahuwah, into the room of the sons of Hanan, son of Yigdayahu, Yigdal a man of Elohim, which was by the chamber of the heads, above the room of Maas Seyahu, son of Shalom, the keeper of the door. And I sat before the sons of the house of the Rechabites bowls filled with wine, and cups, and said to them, Drink wine. But they said, We do not drink wine, because Jonadab, the son of Rechab, our father, commanded us, saying, You shall not drink wine, neither you nor your sons forever. So this father directed his sons and even wanted them to direct their own sons to not drink wine forever. And do not build a house, neither sow seed, nor plant a vineyard, nor have any of these, but dwell in tents all your days, so that you live many days on the face of the land where you are sojourners. So these are sojourners, strangers. So we obeyed the voice of Jonadab, son of Rechab, our father, in all that he commanded us, to drink no wine in all our days, we, our wives, our sons, and our daughters. So it sounds like even if they gave their daughters to another man, look, they obeyed their father. Now, if you get to this point in Jeremiah, if you done read all the way through what the order that they give us the Bible, you know that Israel and the Yahudim have not obeyed the Father. But these people are obeying their Father, and they letting it be known. We ain't doing this. We gonna obey the will of our Father, and y'all bringing these people to be an example inside the temple because they're operating in a level of holiness towards their Father that Israel and the Yahudim are not operating towards Yah. He like, I'm setting y'all up to be royal priests and be examples of me to the earth, and y'all ain't doing it. But yet this man has sons, wives, and daughters that's obeying him. Not just their generation, but the next generation after. Okay, nor to build ourselves house to dwell in, and we have no vineyard, field, or seed, but we dwell in tents and have obeyed and done according to all that Jonadab our father commanded us. Their obedience is greater than any sacrifice. They obeyed their father. And it came to be when Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came up into the land that we said, Come, let us go to Jerusalem for fear of the army of the Kasdim and for fear of the armies of the Arameans. So we dwell at Jerusalem. And the word of Yahuwah came to Yirmiyahu, saying, Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, Go, and you shall say to the men of Yahudah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, Have you not received instructions to obey my words? Declares Yahuwah. So Yahuwah got his prophet going out and asking Israel and the Yahudim, Have you not been given instruction to obey me? Because he see, Yah sees it all. He's seeing how Jonabad's descendants are obeying him, and he like, hold on, I done did so much for Israel and Yahudim and establishing them. I chose them. I got favor towards them, and yet they ain't obeying me. But this man is getting obeyed. Oh, I need to pull them in and set them as an example. They need to see these people that's obeying their father. All right. 14. The words of Jonabad, son of Rechab, which he commanded his sons not to drink wine or are established, and they have not drunk unto this day, for they have obeyed their father's command. And as for me, I have spoken to you, rising early and speaking, but you have not obeyed me. Man, that's a smack in the face to the Most High Yah. This man has his generation and the next generation obeying him, and yet Yah has done so much towards Israel. Remember this bloodline that people just brag and and speak on so highly. Yeah, he's chosen Israel, but Israel don't want to act right. Jonabad's sons, his children, the Rechabites, they act right. Man, I ain't trying to put jealousy on y'all, but I'm like, that's a smack in his face all day. 15. And I sit to you all my servants, the prophets, rising up early and sending them, saying, Turn each one from his evil way and make good your deeds, and do not go after other mighty ones to serve them. And you shall dwell in the land which I have given you and your fathers, but you have not inclined your ear nor obeyed me. Yeah, Israel forever out there making sacrifices, doing feasts, all this other stuff. But when it comes to obeying him and putting his Torah out there, nah, we'll get around to that. And we always want to blame, oh man, the white man. Yeah. If we came together as a people in obedience, what did he say? Deuteronomy 28, so many people throw it out there. But he said, if you do this, you'll gain favor. Baruch will, you'll be Baruch. But if you do this, you're gonna be cursed. So when we walk around and we see our people in so much distress and so much struggle, you know, it's a choice. When Kanye said that a lot of people made it, made it sound like he was crazy, which he is crazy. I think he's crazy too. But come on, we chose to disobey Yah, and thus the consequences, they there. Even today, people still say, oh man, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But you are individual. I had an ache in my hand the other day. My whole body was out of commission because of that, my hand. Wasn't sleeping well, nothing. We supposed to be a body. You can be whole, but if your neighbor, your connected joint is not whole, oh, the whole body is in distress. That's what dis-ease is. Dis-ease. Come on. If you don't gather and get to not just worry about you, but worry about those around you, you know, all of that around you, that negativity, all that problems, all that stress, all the problems and issues is going to affect you. You can say all day, oh, they don't affect me, but it's going to stifle your growth because you are supposed to be a part of a unit. You're supposed to be one body, not just an individual. But most of us, we rather operate as individuals and not as a nation. And so you could be okay, but if your brother ain't okay, you ain't right standing with Yah. If your focus is only on you. I get it now. Now, if you say it's on your household, you do want to get your household in order before you go outside. But if you just focus just on you, as me being a husband, if I just worry about me and don't worry about my wife and children, then I'm an infidel. I'm out bad. I'm not doing right. I'm not honoring Yah because I am supposed to be the image of Yah in this household. And if I'm not operating like that, I'm basically defaming him. But anyway, but you have not inclined your ear nor obeyed me. The sons of Jonadab, son of Rechab, have indeed carried out the command of their father, which he commanded them, but this people has not obeyed me. Therefore, thus said Yahuwah, Elohim of hosts, the Elohim of Israel: See, I am bringing on Yahudah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem all the evil I have pronounced against them curses, because I have spoken to them, but they did not listen. If you do this, favor. You do this, curse. You ain't listening. So I'm going to let you get the results of that. Here comes the belt. Stop getting mad at the belt. No, Yah is behind that belt. And I have called to them, but they did not answer. Oh, y'all stiff-necked, stubborn. And I'm guilty. I'm in that too. I'm not trying to just point at no, because when I point at you, I got fingers pointed back at me. It's me too. Because there's a many times I get selfish because sometimes you Negropeans be getting on my nerves. But I gotta have some empathy and remember that I walk as an example for him, and so I have to be forgiving. I wish more people would seek forgiveness though, because it's hard to give audience to folks that don't have the best interest for you. So I'm definitely gonna guard myself. But let me keep going. And Yahoo said to the house of the Rechabites, Thus says Yahoo of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, because you have obeyed the command of Jonadab, your father, and guarded all his commands, and done according to all that he commanded you. Therefore, thus said Yahoo of hosts, the Elohim of Israel. Of Jonadab, son of Rechab, there shall never cease to be a man to stand before me. Yah showed favor to these people due to obedience and not due to bloodline. Yes, Israel is supposed to be first all day, but if you can't get yourself together, the benefits will go to a stranger that is obeying Yah. I'm not one that disregards the bloodline, but I tell you that bloodline alone is not enough. He says he's looking for a remnant for a reason. If all of Israel was going to be okay, being able to do whatever, they said, well, he paid it all. No, you have to endure to the end. You yourself have been given an example by Yahusha of how to obey. You have to obey as well. Obedience is greater than sacrifice. You can't just, oh, his sacrifice, it paid it off. No, you also have to add some obedience to that. They go together. Obedience and sacrifice are co-laborers. They work together. You got to have both. because obedience is going to have you sacrifice. There's a many a times in obedience you don't respond to stuff, and it's a sacrifice to not respond and match energy with folks. That's a heck of a sacrifice of obedience. It's a sacrifice and it's definitely obedience because it say, you ain't supposed to speak ill of people, so it's like, I want to get them, I want to get them. There's a lot of times you might want to murder somebody, but nah. And I ain't talking about murder as far as kill them like naturally or whatever. No, you might want to murder them with words. Speak some things. Shut up sometimes. And that I'm speaking to me right now. I need to shut up sometimes. Because shut up don't sound nice. I know, but I need to Shanquilla shut up. All right. Abiyah, thank you for the Shabbat. Thank you for this opportunity to just talk. May your will be honored. May we seek to be examples and also walk in obedience more so than these putting forth sacrifice all the time. We want to be example of obedience. We want to just honor you and not have you looking at other places for what's earned you. Your will being done is what you set this whole earth in motion for. So let us be fruitful, multiply, not just in flesh, but also in ruach, in obedience. So I thank you for my household. I thank you for One Vision Ministry. I thank you for just the ability to sharpen iron with those that hear this. I welcome any I guess constructive criticism and let us move forward with this Shabbat in rest. Hallelujah and Yada Yahuwah. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.